I'm Sarah, your storyteller. I pick these stories to show you the importance of saving, remembering, telling, and writing your family stories. I call it legacy writing. I'll talk about that later. Let me ask you, have you ever done something so audacious, so completely against all the rules, that you stopped an entire superpower cold in its tracks? Today I want to tell you about an 18-year-old boy, a teenager, with a tiny rented airplane, a big dream, and absolutely zero fear of the Soviet Union. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never underestimate a teenager again. Stay with me. It is May 28, 1987. The Cold War is still very much alive. The Soviet Union is one of the two most powerful military forces on Earth, and its air defense system is legendary. No unauthorized aircraft gets through, not without consequences. Nobody apparently has told Mathias Rust. Mathias is 18 years old. He is from Hamburg, West Germany. He is a student and an amateur pilot with a passion for peace and a belief that one ordinary person can do something extraordinary. He is a teenager with a pilot's license and a very, very big idea. His aircraft is a Cessna 172 Skyhawk. If you are not familiar with small planes, picture the Honda Civic of the aviation world. A reliable, modest, four-seat propeller plane. That is what Mathias Rust points to the most fortified airspace on Earth. On May 28th, he takes off from Helsinki. Soviet radar picks him up almost immediately. Military jets are scrambled. But there is genuine confusion up the chain of command, and in the time it takes to decide what to do, Mathias Rust has already crossed the border. He flies for nearly 400 miles through Soviet airspace at low altitude, sometimes following rivers and roads. And then, at roughly 7 p.m. Moscow time, he begins his descent into the heart of the Soviet capital. His plan? Fly from Helsinki, Finland, all the way to Moscow, land somewhere near the Kremlin, and personally deliver a peace message to Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. Simple, totally reasonable. He originally aimed for the Kremlin itself, but the grounds were too crowded, so he circled Red Square, one of the most famous public spaces on Earth, and landed on a bridge near St. Basil's Cathedral. A crowd gathered almost immediately. People thought it was a stunt, a film shoot. Mathias Rust stepped out of his tiny airplane in his orange flight suit and began signing autographs. He was arrested shortly after. He spent 432 days in Soviet custody before being released. And for a long time, that seemed like the end of the story. Except, it was not the end. It was the beginning. The embarrassment to the Soviet military was so catastrophic that Mikhail Gorbachev used it as justification to fire over 300 military officials, including the Minister of Defense, who had been the most resistant to his reform agenda. In one afternoon, a German teenager in a rented plane had done more to clear the path for perestroika and glasnost than years of diplomacy had managed. Mathias Rust set out to build a bridge between East and West. Most people thought he was a reckless kid who got lucky, but history, looking back, suggests he was something else entirely. We are taught from a young age that the big problems, the geopolitical ones, are not ours to solve, that we are too small, that the right people are handling it. Mathias Rust was 18 years old. He had a pilot's license, a dream, and a Cessna, and he flew it straight into the most guarded airspace on Earth because he believed that one person could make a difference. I wonder sometimes about the bold, slightly unreasonable thing you might be sitting on, the letter you haven't sent, the idea you haven't said out loud, the flight plan you haven't filed. Maybe it's time. If this story surprised you, share it. Subscribe to History Sparks so you never miss a moment worth remembering, and I will see you tomorrow with a story about a doctor, a simple discovery, and the moment that changed how we save each other's lives. See you then.